Sometimes we remembered faintly that we once could fly. We wanted to fly again, but we were so caught up in our little boxes. It was hard to think outside the box, for it was important, we were told, to conform to what was expected of you. But we had remembered that before we were like a butterfly winging our way, going with the flow. We further boxed ourselves in, making a lot of boxes. First one and then another theory. We were looking for our wholeness, but in doing this we extracted formulas and rituals and sacrifices and all manner of devices we put into place, which further boxed us in when we realized that we were not free, that we were meeting our neighbor and trying to box them into a pattern as we ourselves were in. We became aware of the many boxes piling up everywhere. Talking became our favorite pastime, and we defended our box against another boxed opinion, but we were all caught up in a box. We could give you rules and regulations. We could give you rituals and formulas, and the form became so binding that many of us began to balk. Many of us told others that we could not be boxed in any longer. We wanted to go against the rules and the theories that taught us that the rules must be followed, that the do's and the don'ts were the truth that would set us free. And yet, we were not free. So many of us started folding in. We started to change the shape we were in, to streamline ourselves, so to speak, for it would not allow us freedom to stay in our boxes. We thought about the part of us known as spirit. We allowed our spirit to soar as we folded our sides into the very heart. We started to feel lighter, and we imagined that we could actually fly. Now it's when you take the box shape and fold in the sides to the center like making a kite. This represents some of the boxes turning into kites, which is a little like saying turning into New Agers. We were trying to balance our mental, emotional, and physical bodies, and very often the freedom that we experienced gave us the feeling that we could fly. We wanted to soar, but we needed to bring about a change in our thinking mental self and in our physical self. We defined yet again a new kind of knowing, a physical exercise that would align our spirit to that of our mind and body. We talked of how we could soar and we would create a wonderful world by our ambition to take a further step. So the kite people began to gather about them a lot of information about all kinds of things that would help them grow closer to all that is. They met in houses and they had what you call workshops. They talked about the wonderful life that was to be when they would raise their vibrations higher. In reaching for the truth, we pulled out all of the restraints and became aware of our need to go on seeking our truth as we reformed and refashioned ourselves by still yet another set of rules and formulas and rituals and dogma. We were sailing in our lofty place, so sure that we had risen above the others still on the ground. But in our ascension we felt the tug of the string holding us to the earth, pulling us down so often. For they were our brothers, they were part of ourselves, and how could we rise without them? Yet just like the boxes going from one box to another, the kites also formed many schools of thought about what to do and what to believe. The boxes were very concerned about the kites, thinking that how they believed meant they were going to miss out on heaven. And sometimes there was much anger and confusion between the boxes and the kites. The boxes were saying, "Save the New Agers, save the pagans," and the kites were saying, "Save the whales, save the tree, save the spotted owl." the kite people really wanted to love the boxed people, but yet they were the mountain in our way of ascension. We had tried to push the mountain down, but it would not stay. Then we began to open up our heart centers and see if we could not love as we wanted to be loved, and to accept as we wanted to be accepted. Now, the kite people had thought that the reason they were not rising higher was because the boxes that seemed to be the mountain in their way were preventing them. Then there came the day when many of them realized, hey, we need to accept our box brothers and sisters just as they are, and love them and see them as perfect. For do we not also want to be loved and accepted as we are by them? So we must first give in order to receive the same. Now you're going to take this box, this kite, and make it into what looks like a boat, or also like to say what looks like a diamond. And in taking our brothers into our hearts, we began to shine so brightly, we were like a diamond, catching the light and reflecting the light from our many facets. We could see that we had other shapes and other structures, some shaped a little different, and yet all a part of the whole diamond. Each facet worked at reflecting the light in conjunction to a fellow faceter. Each was important, each was vital, for when we could see our wholeness from beyond our limited view, we saw the complete diamond. So it happened that both the boxes and the kites began to really love one another, not just talk about it, but to do it. They all began to see the light that was in their fellow man, and how each was important in the larger picture of our wholeness in all that is. We saw ourselves as facets of a huge diamond, some of us shaped up differently, but that we all had reflected off of one another and made a beautiful light reflection. We became like unto a boat, and we took on all those who wanted our love and acceptance. And our opening up to love became that which changed us yet again, for we were no longer like a kite fastened to the ground. Now you see the diamond takes on the shape of the boat. It is the unconditional love boat stage of the dove. There is to be a flood of love coming over the land, and all are welcome to get aboard the UL boats, unconditional love boats. No one would be judged because of their different lifestyles, the clothes they dressed in, how they fixed their hair, their sexuality, their skin color, or any other difference that used to cause division. We imagined that we were complete now, that we could ascend to greater heights, but we found that we were not lifting off as yet. What was holding us down? What was there that we had not done? We had taken our brothers into our hearts. We had given up the dogmas, the rituals, the theories. So in this part, the diamond stage, I have it where it looks sort of like a little rocket ship. So there we were, so sure that we were ready to fly into the heavens among the stars. But we were grounded still. What was holding us back? We needed to know. There was still more to learn. We were now finally in the place where we could learn, and there was much that we needed to learn about ourselves. I will stop here now, and be sure that you go to the Dove Story Part 3 to find out more of this story.